You know what the saddest thing I've ever witnessed is? It's watching someone destroy themselves. Not because the world broke them, not because life was hard, not because they didn't have enough talent or opportunity, but because they believed a lie. A lie that whispered in their own head every single morning. A lie that sounded exactly like their own voice. I'm talking about the person who had the business idea that could have changed their life but never started because their mind said, "You're not smart enough." The athlete who could have gone pro but quit before they even tried because something inside them whispered, "You don't have what it takes." The artist, the writer, the dreamer who died with their masterpiece still locked inside them because every time they sat down to create, that voice said, "Who are you to think you're special?" And here's what kills me. That voice was lying the entire time. Let me ask you something real quick, and I want you to be honest with yourself. How many times have you been your own worst enemy? How many times have you stopped yourself before you even started? How many opportunities did you let slip through your fingers? Not because you couldn't do it, but because you convinced yourself you couldn't. That voice in your head, you trust it, don't you? You think it's trying to protect you. You think it's being realistic. You think it knows what's best for you. But what if I told you that voice is the biggest liar you'll ever meet in your entire life? See, here's what nobody tells you when you're growing up. Your mind, this incredible, powerful, beautiful thing sitting inside your skull, it wasn't designed to make you successful. It wasn't built to help you chase your dreams. It wasn't programmed to push you toward greatness. No, your mind has one job and one job only: keep you alive, keep you safe, keep you comfortable. And to do that, it will lie to you every single day of your life. Think about it. Every time you've wanted to do something that scared you, what happened? Your mind immediately started throwing up red flags, didn't it? It started painting worst case scenarios. It started reminding you of every time you failed before. It started comparing you to everyone else who's better than you. It started giving you a million reasons why you should just stay where you are, stay small, stay safe, stay comfortable. And most people listen. Most people hear that voice and they think it's wisdom. They think it's their intuition trying to protect them. So they stay in jobs they hate because their mind says at least it's stable. They stay in relationships that drain them because their mind says at least you're not alone. They never pursue their real passions because their mind says that's not realistic. They never take the risk because their mind says, what if you fail? And years go by, decades go by, and one day they wake up and realize they spent their entire life in a prison. But here's the twist. The prison wasn't real. The bars were made of thoughts. The walls were made of fear. The chains were made of their own mental programming. They were free the whole time. They just didn't know it. I want you to understand something that's going to change everything for you. Your thoughts, they're not facts. They're just noise. They're just your brain doing its job, trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you from getting hurt. But safe doesn't mean successful. Safe doesn't mean fulfilled. Safe doesn't mean alive. There's a guy named David Goggins, and if you don't know his story, you need to hear this. This man was nobody. I mean that literally. He was nobody. He was overweight, working a dead-end job as an exterminator, spraying for coaches, going nowhere fast. He was broke. He was depressed. He hated looking at himself in the mirror. And every single day, his mind told him the same thing. This is who you are. This is all you'll ever be. You're not special. You're not capable of more. And for years, he believed it. For years, he lived in that mental prison. He let his mind dictate his entire reality. But then something happened. Something clicked. He was watching TV one night and saw a documentary about Navy SEAL training. And for the first time in his life, something inside him said, I could do that. But immediately, like always, his mind started screaming at him. Are you crazy? You're 300 pounds. You're not an athlete. You'll fail. You'll look stupid. Don't even try. But this time, this one time, he didn't listen. He started running, and his mind fought him every single step. It told him to quit. It told him it hurt too much. It told him he was embarrassing himself. But he kept running. He started waking up at 4 a.m. to train. His mind said, sleep in, you're tired. He ignored it. He started doing things that terrified him. His thing that most people never figure out in their entire lives, your mind is only your enemy if you let it be. The moment you realize that you are not your thoughts, the moment you understand that you have the power to choose which thoughts to believe and which ones to ignore, everything changes. David Goggins went on to become one of the toughest human beings on the planet. Army Ranger, ultra-marathon runner. He's run over 60 ultra-marathons. He once ran 205 miles in 39 hours. He holds the world record for the most pull-ups in 24 hours, 4,030 pull-ups. This is the same guy who was spraying cockroaches and hating his life just a few years earlier. So what changed? His circumstances? No. His genetics? No. His mind? No. His mind still tells him to quit every single day. What changed is he learned to control it instead of letting it control him. And that's what you need to understand. You will never get rid of this. You will never silence that voice completely. Fear will always be there. Doubt will always show up. Insecurity will always try to creep in. But you don't need to get rid of them. You just need to stop giving them power. You need to stop treating every thought like it's the truth. Most people think the goal is to have positive thoughts all the time. Successful people just walk around feeling confident and motivated 24/7. That's not how they fear and do it anyway. They hear the voice saying you can't, and they prove it wrong. See, your mind operates on patterns. It's been programmed by everything you've experienced, everything you've been told, everything you've seen. If you grew up being told you're not good enough, your mind learned that pattern. If you failed before, it remembers that pattern. If you've been hurt, your mind wants to protect you from that pattern repeating. So it creates these automatic responses, these default settings that keep you playing small. But here's the beautiful part. Patterns can be reprogrammed. Your mind is not set in stone. It's not permanent. It's not fixed. It's actually incredibly adaptable. It's constantly changing based on what you expose it to, based on what you practice, based on what you reinforce. Every single day, you have the opportunity to reprogram your mind. Every single day, you get to choose which patterns you're going to strengthen and which ones you're going to weaken. Think about it like this. If you've spent the last 10 years avoiding discomfort, what has your mind learned? It's learned that discomfort equals danger. So now every time something uncomfortable comes up, your mind immediately triggers that fear response. It's trying to protect you, but in doing so, it's keeping you weak. It's keeping you limited. It's keeping you from growing. But what happens if you start doing uncomfortable things on purpose? What happens if you start seeking out difficulty instead of avoiding it? What happens if you train your mind to associate discomfort with growth instead of danger? Everything changes. Your mind starts to rewire itself. Those fear responses start to quiet down. That voice that used to scream, run away, starts to whisper, maybe we can handle this. This is what people don't understand about mental toughness. They think some people are just born tough. They think some people just naturally have willpower and discipline. That's not true. Mental toughness is a skill. It's something you develop. It's something you practice. And just like any skill, the more you practice it, the stronger it gets. You want to know the secret to taking control of your mind? It's simple, but it's not easy. The secret is exposure. You have to expose yourself to the very things your mind wants you to avoid. You have to do hard things. You have to face your fears. You have to push past your limits. Not once, not twice, but every single day. Your mind gets stronger by being challenged. Think about your body for a second. If you want to build muscle, you have to lift weights. You have to break down the muscle fibers so they can rebuild stronger. It's uncomfortable, it hurts, but that's how you grow. Your mind works the exact same way. If you want a strong mind, you have to challenge it. You have to put it in difficult situations. You have to make it uncomfortable. This is why so many people stay weak mentally. They avoid everything that challenges them. They stay in their comfort zone their entire lives. They surround themselves with easy job, easy relationships, easy routines, easy everything. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. They wonder why they never grow. They wonder why life feels so empty and unfulfilling. It's because you cannot grow in comfort. Growth requires resistance. Progress requires pressure. Strength requires struggle. If you're not being challenged, you're not changing. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. If everything in your life is easy, you're not living, you're just existing. And let me tell you something else. Your mind knows this. Deep down, beneath all the fear and all the excuses, your mind knows you're capable of more. That's why you feel that restlessness. That's why you feel that dissatisfaction. That's why even when everything is fine, something inside you knows it's not enough. That feeling isn't depression. It's your potential screaming at you to stop wasting it. You see, your mind will always default to the path of least resistance. It's lazy by design. Of energy, it wants to stay safe. It wants to avoid pain. So it try to convince you to take the easy route. Sleep in instead of waking up early. Skip the workout instead of pushing through. Watch TV instead of working on your goals. Stay quiet instead of speaking up. Play it safe instead of taking the risk. And every time you listen to that voice, every time you choose comfort over growth, every time you take the easy path, you're training your mind that quitting is acceptable. You're reinforcing the pattern that says, when things get hard, we give up. You're making yourself weaker. You're programming yourself for mediocrity. But the opposite is also true. Every time you do the hard thing, every time you go through when you want to quit, every time you choose growth over comfort, you're training your mind to be strong. You're showing it that you can handle more than you thought. You're reprogramming those patterns. You're building mental muscle. This is why discipline is so important. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's not about never making mistakes. It's not about being some robot who never feels tired or unmotivated. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. That's when it matters most. Because here's what happens when you start being disciplined. Your mind starts to trust you. It starts to realize that when you say you're going to do something, you actually do it. It stops fighting you so much because it knows resistance is futile. The more consistent you are, the less your mind will try to sabotage you. The voice gets quieter. The fear gets smaller. The excuses lose their power. But you have to be consistent. You can't just do it once and expect everything to change. You can't work hard for a week and then go back to your old patterns. Your mind needs repetition. It needs consistency. It needs proof that this is who you are now. Think about someone who's trying to quit smoking. The first few days are hell, right? Their mind is screaming at them. Every cell in their body is craving that cigarette. But if they push through, if they stay consistent, if they refuse to give in, something amazing happens. After a few weeks, it gets easier. After a few months, they barely think about it anymore. Their mind has adapted. It's created new patterns. What once felt impossible now feels normal. The same thing happens with any behavior you want to change. The beginning is always the hardest because you're fighting against years of programming. You're going against the grain. You're doing something your mind perceives as a threat. But if you stay consistent, if you keep showing up, if you refuse to quit, your mind will eventually get on board. It will adapt. It will change. And what once felt like a constant battle will start to feel natural. But here's the catch. You can never stop training your mind. The moment you get comfortable, the moment you stop challenging yourself, the moment you stop doing hard things, your mind starts to regress. Those old patterns start to creep back in. That voice starts getting louder again. You start sliding back toward weakness. This is why people who achieve success often struggle to maintain it. They work incredibly hard to get to the top, but once they're there, they relax. They stop doing the things that made them successful in the first place. They get comfortable. And slowly but surely, they lose what they worked so hard to gain. Your mind is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you want to stay mentally strong, you have to keep challenging yourself. You have to keep pushing your limits. You have to keep doing hard things, not just for a month, not just for a year, for the rest of your life. I know that sounds exhausting. I know that sounds like a lot of work. But let me ask you this. What's the alternative? Living a mediocre life? Never reaching your potential? Spending your entire existence wondering, what if? Is that really easier? Is that really less exhausting than just doing the work? The truth is, staying the same is actually harder than changing. Living with regret is actually more painful than facing your fears. Being disappointed in yourself every single day is actually more exhausting than just pushing through the discomfort and becoming who you're meant to be. You have a choice right now. Keep listening to that voice that tells you to play it safe. You can keep living in your comfort zone. You can keep making excuses for why you're not where you want to be. Or you can decide that today is the day everything changes. Today is the day you stop being your own worst enemy and start becoming your own greatest ally. Your mind is going to resist this. It's going to throw every excuse at you. It's going to remind you of every time you failed before. It's going to tell you that you're not capable of change. It's going to make you feel tired, unmotivated, and doubtful. That's normal. That's expected. That's what it does. But now you know the truth. That voice is a liar. Those thoughts are not facts. That fear is not reality. And you...
لا تعقد الأمور، لا تلف ولا تدور وأمن.
More powerful than you've been led to believe. So here's where the real work begins. Because understanding the problem is one thing, actually doing something about it is something else entirely. You can read every self-help book ever written. You can watch every motivational video on YouTube. You can understand every psychological principle about how your mind works. But if you don't put in the work, if you don't actually take action, all that knowledge is completely worthless. This is where most people fall off. They get inspired. They feel motivated. They understand what needs to change. And then they wait. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until the circumstances are just right. And while they're waiting, nothing changes. Months go by, years go by, and they're still sitting there, still waiting, still making excuses, still letting their mind run the show. Let me be brutally honest with you. You will never feel ready. You will never feel motivated every single day. You will never wake up one morning and suddenly have this surge of unstoppable willpower that carries you through everything. That's not how this works. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for the weather to be perfect before you start your journey. You'll be waiting forever. The people who actually change their lives, they don't wait. They start right now, today, this second. They start even when they're scared. They start even when they're tired. They start even when every fiber of their being is screaming at them to stay where they are, because they understand something crucial. Action creates momentum, not the other way around. You want to know what the first step is? It's not some complicated strategy. It's not some secret technique. The first step is catching yourself in the act. It's becoming aware of when your mind is lying to you. It's recognizing the moment when that voice starts making excuses, and instead of automatically leaving it, you pause, you question it, you challenge it. Your mind says, I'm too tired to work out today. Stop. Is that actually true? You're just comfortable on the couch. Your mind says, most of your limitations are imaginary. Most of your fears are projections. Most of your excuses are just comfort in disguise. And the moment you start questioning these thoughts instead of accepting them as response to it, you have to follow through.